Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Leo with the Solano Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And today we are going to be doing a informal conversation with a member of the Fairfield-Suisun Unified School District. I want to introduce briefly Tim Goree, Executive Director in Administrative Services and Community Engagement of Fairfield-Suisun Unified School District. So what I want to do first, Tim, if you can please introduce yourself and sort of your role. And then if we can go into giving updates that you may want to provide before going into questions. So go ahead, Tim, introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Tim Goree. I have worked at the Fairfield-Suisun Unified School District now for about 9 years. And I am Executive Director of Administrative Services and Community Engagement. The role that I play is primarily in communications with the community. So some people call me the Public Information Officer. I'm the person who gets information out to the news, to the person who talks on camera when we have those kinds of situations. As well as a person who works on partnerships with organizations across both of our cities and the county. So we partner with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, as well as many other organizations to help students in our school district. So that's my main role. I work in the superintendent's office, and I am blessed to have direct access to her. And so I am able to get information about what's going on in the school district, across the school district, in a very timely way, and I can get that information out to the community. So, yeah, so some of the things that have been going on.
Before we move into, I see people are starting joining. I forgot to give the little rules, so to speak, in the beginning. So what I'll do, everyone, I give some instructions first, and then translating. I'll provide some instructions in Spanish. The session will be in English. We will try to take questions in Spanish if you have them, and then we'll provide it to the team. But let me start real quick. For those of you that are just joining, we are going to be talking to the Fairfield-Suisun Unified School District. So if you have kids in the district, please ask questions. You can either, I'm going to mute everybody, so you can either unmute yourself when you have questions, or you can send them on the chat area. If you are familiar with how to utilize Zoom, if you're on a computer, there will be a chat button at the bottom of your chat Zoom screen. If you're on your phone, you should be able to tap your screen, and in the lower left corner, you should be able to see the unmute option, but also if you scroll to the right on your phone, you should be able to see the option to send a message via chat. Now let me just provide some information in Spanish. Hola a todos, bienvenidos. La sesión de hoy será preguntando, será en referencia a platicar con el representante del distrito, Tim Goree, que se dedica a las comunicaciones del Distrito Escolar de Fairfield-Suisun. La sesión va a ser en inglés, pero si tienen preguntas, por favor, mándenlas y vamos a tratar vamos a hacer la pregunta a Tim para que la responda, y la información la vamos a obtener para mandársela en español. Así que si tienen preguntas, es en español, déjenla por favor en la sección de comentarios, o si no, aprieten el botón de unmute y la podemos traducir en vivo. Pero por si no han usado Zoom antes, por el momento voy a tener a todos en mute. Ya si quieren hacer una pregunta, por favor, hay un botón que pueden, en el que en la parte de abajo, si están en sus computadoras, para que así se puedan salirse del mute, o si no, si están en sus teléfonos, pueden irse a la parte derecha en el teléfono para que para mandar una pregunta, o si no, apriete su pantalla y en la parte izquierda de abajo de la esquina de su teléfono van a poder ver el botón del micrófono donde van a poder quitar el mute si necesitan. Lo primero que vamos a hacer es que vamos a dejar a Tim que hable un poco acerca de lo que está pasando en nuestro distrito y después vamos a ir a las preguntas. So first, we're going to go ahead and let Tim to provide updates, right, of what's been happening in the district. And then we're going to go into the questions. So go ahead, Tim. Thank you for that.
Sure. Okay, so probably the biggest thing on people's minds right now is closures, school closures related to coronavirus. Currently, our school closures are through May 1st, which is a Friday, meaning that students are slated to come back on May 4th, which is a Monday. That's currently where we stand. Recently, actually the last 2 days, the governor of California has mentioned that he does not believe that we will be coming back for the rest of this school year through June. All of the schools in California. That is, at this point, his belief and his suggestion to the schools in California, but because the governor has not yet put that into a written executive order, the authority to close schools remains with the individual superintendents of each school district. And so we haven't acted on that yet. We're working with the other school districts in Solano County to determine what the governor's suggestions mean for us and whether or not we will extend all the way through the end of the school year, and when we might do that. That'll be coming in the next week, we think. So that's the first sort of major update that we have right now. There's a lot of confusion because of what the governor has said about, well, aren't schools closed now for the rest of the year right now? Not necessarily. But to be honest with you, we do pretty much expect that is going to be the case. We're operating at this point as if that will be the case. And I think that's important to make sure people understand is when we say we're operating as if we will be out of school and not have the kids back at any of our campuses for the rest of this school year, that has some implications about what we should be doing right now and what we'll be doing in the next few weeks and the next month, right? And so a lot of that has to do with school at home, what we're calling distance learning. And so in our school district, this week was the first week that we officially started distance learning, and our expectations for that right now are very low. we're starting very slow, very low, and then our expectation is that the expectations of students and teachers in this new mode will be ramping up over time. Right. So this week is really characterized by teachers reaching out individually to students and to parents to give them some sense of what they would like them to do when they would like to meet live by video conference or by phone, and then how they are to do some minimal amount of work that's going to be coming their way via homework and learning. Some teachers are video recording themselves doing lessons and sending that out through Google Classroom. Some teachers are simply giving writing assignments or small art assignments or any number of different things. Depends on the teacher, depends on the grade, depends on the school. But we're starting very slow.
Tim, let me just sort of translate some of that in Spanish, and that will help out some of the parents that in the recording as well, right? So we can provide that information. Alguna de las primeras información que dio el distrito, ¿verdad? Que dio el señor Tim Goree, es que por el momento las escuelas de Fairfield-Suisun están programadas a que las clases regresen o los niños regresen a las escuelas el 4 de mayo. Puede hacer que las cosas cambien. Por ejemplo, el gobernador de California ha estado mencionando los últimos 2 días de que su opinión personal, él siente que las escuelas no deberían de regresar el resto del año. Obviamente esa información van a estarla monitoreando. El distrito es el que tiene la decisión de que se cierran o no el resto del año por el momento, a menos que el gobernador haga una decisión ejecutiva. Pero por el momento, ¿verdad? El distrito es el que decide si cierran el resto del año o no. Otra cosa que mencionó Tim es en referencia a que esta fue la primera semana en que ya empezaron el enseñamiento a distancia. O sea, ya sus niños deberían estar recibiendo información de cómo, y schedule, ¿verdad? De cómo, de qué se tiene que aprender, qué clases están tomando, pero van avanzando, ¿verdad? Esta ha sido la primera semana, el avance ha sido lento, han estado aprendiendo y ya poco a poco van a hacer más cosas. Por ejemplo, estaba comentando Tim de que los profesores empiezan a grabarse un video para así poder mandar información a los estudiantes. Okay, Tim, go ahead.
Great. So one of the things that we've communicated out over the last couple of days was about devices for students. So most of our students, 2nd grade through seniors in high school, through 12th grade, already have devices. Most of those are Chromebooks. Those devices are issued by the school district, and for most schools, they've been using them. Many of the schools have allowed students to take them home already. So that wasn't a big issue from that standpoint of students having devices, although we have found that there are some students who don't have them. And so we need to make sure that those students get them if they don't have them. And we also have to make sure that students who have them, and if they get broken or they have a problem physically with the device, that they can turn the device in and get it fixed so that they can get it back. First of all, our expectation for distance learning is that all students 2nd grade and above would have devices that we give them so that they can use that for their work. Kindergarten and 1st grade and preschool, we wouldn't expect that they would necessarily need devices. We're looking to see if we can provide devices for them, but the teachers for those students are prepared to give those students assignments and that sort of thing on paper, and they're working on that. So right now, really the expectation is that 2nd grade and above all have devices. So we did email out last night a document that people can read that will explain to them how to turn in a device, or to get a device if they don't have one, or turn in a device if it's broken, or if there's a problem with it, and to get that fixed. We are running tech centers, basically, a schedule of different times and different locations. The locations are the 3 comprehensive high schools that we have: Fairfield High, Armijo High School, and Rodriguez High School. And we rotate every day throughout the week. And there's a schedule on that document that shows where we'll be, where the tech team will be to receive those devices that are broken, or to give out devices when the person doesn't have one, or if they're getting one back that's been broken. So all of that information's on that document. We've released that in both English and Spanish. So it's all there. There's a little process where you go to a Google form and fill out a form to say, here's what the problem I'm having is, and then you can drive it by the school at the right time and simply drop it off, show them that you filled out the form, and then they will work with you to decide when you're going to be able to pick that back up repaired if they don't have a device for you right then. So that's the thing that came out just this week that everybody needs to know about.
Thank you, Tim. Brevemente, para aquellos que hablan español, ¿verdad? Les queremos informar el distrito de que la mayoría de los estudiantes ya tienen su dispositivo, ya sea para poder seguir aprendiendo. Lo que usan es Chromebook, o sea, son pequeñas computadoras o laptops que ellos de por sí ya en las escuelas usan este dispositivo cuando están en clases. Lo único que hicieron es de permitirles a todos que lo lleven a casa para poder continuar aprendiendo. También ya empezaron a implementar procesos de reparación y soporte técnico para los estudiantes con los Chromebooks. O sea, lo que van a estar haciendo es que van a tener diferentes lugares donde los papás o las familias pueden llevar las computadoras para hacer servicio. Y esa información va a estar cambiando, o no cambiando, pero hay diferentes sitios donde van a estar haciendo los servicios. Así que si quiere más información de dónde va a ser, mándesela por favor al distrito o nos manda un comentario y se las dejamos saber. Okay, thank you, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one thing I want to point out that's going to be, I think, a lifeline for all of our parents and for our students on district-wide information is on our website. So FSUSD.org. Right on the front of the website, we have a link that's right in the middle that gives all of our up-to-date resources having to do with coronavirus closures. And some of those resources are exactly what I've mentioned, what's happening with school closures, what our current dates are, how to get access to tech support and fixing devices or getting devices if you need them, as well as what our standards are for educational operations. So all of our, we have a number of documents there that talk about what we're doing for students who are who have IEPs, special education students who have specific plans, educational plans that need to be adhered to. We have a document there, both in English and Spanish, that explains what we're doing with that. We have documents there having to do with resources for learning for kids and what to expect coming from schools. And then we also have any updates that are happening, news updates that are happening with the schools and with the school district at large, all on this one page. So I wanted to make sure that everybody got that. You see, FSUSD.org. Thanks, Leo, for putting that in the chat. It's right there on the front of the page. Go to that often. Just about everything that I'm talking to you about is there. Also, our Facebook page is a great resource for up-to-the-minute information. So if you haven't gone to our Facebook page and liked it or followed it yet, that's a lot of times the most up-to-date information is coming first on that Facebook page. So I think that's, let me see if there's anything else I need to, I think that's all the sort of general updates we have right now. One thing I did want to mention, and it's on that website as well. It's also on our Facebook page as an event. At 5:30 today, an English version of a live stream will be happening that will be all about what's happening with seniors in high school. So what's happening, how do seniors graduate? What's going to be required? Whether or not some of the end of year activities are happening and how they're happening. If you have a student who's planning on going to a 4-year university or college next year, how is all of this affecting their ability to get into college? All of those questions about specific to seniors, we're going to try to answer tonight on a live stream that you can get through an event on our Facebook page or at the FSUSD.org website. The English version starts at 5:30, and then on that same live feed at 6:30, we'll have a Spanish version.
Thank you, Tim. Let me just was taking some note. You say that will be on the Facebook page for that you expect that, and on the website?
Yeah, but information, the live feed is a YouTube live video, but the link for that YouTube live video is both on our FSUSD.org webpage, the COVID page that is linked right on the center, and it's also on our Facebook page as an event. So if you look in the events of our Facebook page, you'll see the virtual senior information night. And that'll have that link that you can click on that will take you to the video. The Spanish version starts at 6:30. English starts at 5:30.
Okay, perfect. Let me see real quick if I... Okay, meeting for seniors. Oh, I see. Let me see if I can copy this. Okay. Let me just translate that. Bueno, la última información, una de las últimas informaciones que Tim quería proveer acerca del distrito es que por favor, padres, ¿verdad? Estemos pendientes de chequear, revisar el website del distrito, FSUSD.org, para que estén informados. Voy a compartir rápido mi pantalla para... Bueno, no, mejor no. Pero sí que para que estén informados, ¿verdad? Se van en el website FSUSD, que lo puse aquí en la sección de comentarios.org, para que estén informados de lo último que pasa del distrito. Hay una página, ¿verdad? O hay una información, un anuncio en cuanto se meten a la página que habla acerca de lo último que está informando el distrito. Entonces aprietan esa información y así pueden irse a la página específica donde el distrito está dando información al día de lo que está pasando con todo esto de COVID-19. Otra recurso que los padres debemos hacer es estar chequeando el sitio web del distrito. No el sitio web, el sitio de Facebook. Puse también en la parte de comentarios de Zoom, puse el link a la página del distrito en Facebook. Y otra cosa que Tim quería recordarles a aquellos padres que tienen niños, ¿verdad? En high school, que están a punto de graduarse, hoy, comenzando a las 5:30, va a haber una transmisión en vivo en inglés para dar información, recursos a padres y estudiantes de lo que está pasando, cómo podría afectar a sus estudiantes con todo lo que es de COVID-19, ¿verdad? Y qué recursos pueden buscar para ir a la universidad o para la graduación. A las 6:30 hoy en día van a tener la transmisión en vivo en español. En la sección de comentarios puse detalles de eso y el link a donde va a estar siendo la transmisión en vivo va a ser en YouTube y el link lo puse en la sección de comentarios, o si no pueden irse a la página de Facebook del distrito o el sitio web del distrito y pueden encontrar la información de dónde que va a ser la transmisión en vivo para estudiantes de high school y los padres. Ahora, en este momento, Tim va a tomar preguntas o responder a sus preguntas. So now, this time, right, we can go ahead and I'm going to mute everybody. If you have any questions, please go ahead and feel free to ask them. Okay, looks like we got no questions. I did have one, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
For the closure of schools, if that happens for the rest of the year, how does that affect funding towards schools, if any?
How does that affect funding? Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of that's being worked out right now at the state level. People may or may not be aware of this, but the funding that we receive, almost all the funding that we received as a school district, comes from the state of California. And so the governor has been very friendly to schools, and he's been pretty specific over the last couple of days, especially about the work that they're doing to forgive a lot of the things that are happening right now for schools. And so we're very confident that we won't be disadvantaged funding wise because kids are not in school. They've already given us all of the waivers that we need from a legal standpoint so that this won't affect our normal funding from an attendance perspective, which is where most of our funding comes from. However, I think it's important to note that that funding for schools in California is highly reliant on the economy of California itself and the amount of money that's brought in through taxes. And so we would expect that because of this in a larger view, that this is obviously having a huge effect on our economy right now and on businesses and their ability to pay taxes and their incomes right now. So usually the impact on schools from tax income going down in the state, there's a lag time of about a year or two. So when things go really badly economy-wise, it's usually the next year that we really suffer financially because of that in schools. So while we don't think we're going to be disadvantaged financially in the next 6 months to a year, next year, possibly as early as January 2021, we could see some impacts just from the fact that the economy is really going to struggle because of all of this.
Definitely. Thank you. Makes sense. For those of you that are on the call, you can unmute yourself and ask questions or ask in the chat section. And team, while people are getting ready to ask questions, if they have them, is there, of the ones that I sent you earlier, are there any that you would like to answer?
Yeah, one question was asked, are the family resource centers taking referrals remotely? The answer is not yet, but they will starting on Monday. And so if somebody calls their phone number, the regular Family Resource Center phone numbers, and leaves a message, the Family Resource Center staff will pick up those messages and return your call next week. And they will follow up with those calls. And so they will be up and running starting on Monday, and you should hopefully start receiving return calls from any calls that you make this week to them starting on Monday. So that's a good thing.
And for those that don't know, what would be an example of a referral from if you know?
Yeah, the Family Resource Center that we have multiple locations for Family Resource Center, although the main one, I believe, is at Anna Kyle Elementary School. We have Family Resource Centers. What they do is they work with families who have some sort of need, any need. It could be financial needs, could be need for food, could be needs for a doctor, both physical or mental health, any of those things, any number of different needs. And the Family Resource Center, what they do is when they work with a family and they find out what their needs are, they're able to refer that family to different places in the city that can provide for those needs and help them out. And so Family Resource Center is just that. It's a resource that has connections with all kinds of different places in the city that can help people who have needs that are keeping them from being able to educate their children.
Thank you. So our referral will be, right, if somebody has a need, they will connect them with a resource.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For those of you that just joined, please go ahead and know that you can unmute yourself. Or you can post your questions on the chat section. En español.
Una pregunta.
En español, para aquellos que se acaban de unir, por favor, si tienen alguna pregunta, pueden apretar el botón de quitar el mute. O si no, por favor, pueden mandar la pregunta en el área de chat. Lo que voy a hacer ahorita primero es quitar el botón de mute para ver si hay alguien que tiene una pregunta. Right now, I'm just going to mute everybody to see if there's any questions. There's noise background, please minimize it. Si hay ruido, por favor, reduzcan. Pero ¿tiene alguna pregunta? Is there any questions from people that just joined?
¿De qué se trata de esto?
¿Quién fue? ¿Mireya? ¿O quién habló?
Silvia.
Silvia, estamos hablando con el representante del Distrito Escolar. ¿Tienen niños en el Distrito Escolar de Fairfield-Suisun?
Ajá, sí, ya sé.
Lo que ha estado hablando el señor Tim es proveer información de lo que ha estado pasando. Y ahorita queremos ver si hay alguien que tenga una pregunta con lo que está pasando en el distrito o en nuestras escuelas.
Preguntas a referencia al distrito. Pues sí, porque ahorita la verdad no he tenido información bien del distrito, cómo se va a manejar todo lo que es las escuelas, los hijos, dónde nos podemos, dónde podemos instruir a nuestros hijos para estén al corriente con sus avances de la escuela.
Sí, claro, Silvia. ¿En qué grado están sus niños?
Una está en el 6 y en el otro en el 12. No, en el 10. Perdón, el 10.
Okay, déjame pregunto. Tim, so Sylvia, just join us, right? If there's a parent that approaches and they're still, right, not sure where to go and get caught up in regards to their kids, what they should be doing, or to learn, right, how the kids are going to be learning, what would be the best place for a parent to go and find those resources or especially in Spanish, right? Or of how they should connect with their kids' teacher to understand what needs to happen going on.
Okay, sure. Well, there's two things that I would say. One is going to our website and looking at that page that I mentioned before and that you've linked, FSUSD.org. The COVID-19 page has a number of educational links there that are documents that are frequently asked questions type documents of what's happening, what to expect at this time with distance learning. Those are both in English and in Spanish in every case. So that's one place that they can go. The other place that I would suggest is to send an email to their principal of their school. All the principals are working. Many of them are working from home, but they will answer their emails. If you send an email, even in Spanish, that principal has access to translation services if they aren't already able to speak Spanish. And they will work with people to make sure that they get the communication going. And so if they need to, they can also set up a time via email to call and to talk to somebody and really get all of those specific questions answered about what's happening with their teachers and that sort of thing, and make sure that they get what they need. So first is our website. And then if you're not getting what you need there, or you have very specific questions about what's happening with your teacher or with your school, then email the principal.
Silvia, la mejor forma de informarse de qué es lo que está pasando con la escuela o las clases de sus niños es, número uno, ¿verdad? Visitar el sitio web del distrito, que lo tengo en la sección de chat, o me puede llamar más tarde. Voy a poner mi número aquí, se lo puedo dar para que me den. Pero el distrito tiene su website, FSUSD.org, y tiene información en español y en inglés de lo que hay que hacer. O si no, ¿verdad? Si uno quiere una información más personal, pueden llamar a su escuela. En las escuelas normalmente está la información de cómo contactar al director de la escuela, porque ellos están trabajando. Y si no contesta, déjenle un mensaje y él puede dar la información, déjesela aunque sea en español, o le puede mandar un correo en español. Ellos deberían de tener servicios de traducción para enterarse de su pregunta o de cómo contestar. Una pregunta para usted, Silvia. ¿Sus niños tienen computadoras del distrito, de la escuela?
No.
Ok, porque ya muchos de los niños
sí,
clases,
ajá. Sí, ya yo les compré una y ahí pues es una forma de que
o porque las escuelas estaban dándole las computadoras que ellos tienen. O sea, ellos cuando están en clases usan computadoras.
Sí,
Entonces hubo un aviso que sus computadoras están listas, y si no la recibieron, llame a su escuela, porque el director debe estar ahí trabajando para que él le pueda entregar las computadoras que tiene.
Ok.
O si no, de cualquier computadora se pueden conectar. Ellos saben cómo conectarse, se llama Google Classroom. Sobre todo, el que está en sexto grado debería saber cómo hacerlo. Y allí él tiene que meterse todos los días a chequear qué tareas le han dejado. Y si el profesor no ha dejado ninguna tarea, obviamente hay que contactar al director para enterarse por qué está pasando, por qué no hay tareas. Porque esta semana ya comenzaron todo eso. Por ejemplo, mis hijos esta semana, desde el lunes, han empezado a recibir tareas y hemos estado ahí revisando. Lo primero que hacemos es revisar qué tareas le han dejado o comentarios.
Ok, sí, ya me voy a lo que pasa que no fui por las computadoras, no tenía carro y no fui por las con la laptop.
Ok, y si acaso no tiene carro, puede usar sus computadoras, pero sí, llame, ¿verdad? Y ver si puede llegar algún día para recoger las computadoras.
Ok, sí. Escucho todo lo que están en la... Que siga la reunión. Ahorita ya no tengo preguntas. Muchas gracias.
Are there any more questions? ¿Alguna otra pregunta para Tim en referencia a nuestras escuelas, la escuela de su hijo, clases? Any more questions reference to the schools or classes? How you do?
Clases están, pues, tan pequeñas, pues no abarcan todo el día como una clase normal. ¿En qué esperamos que llegue estas clases virtuales? Claro que nunca va a llegar.
Ramiro, ¿me oye?
Sí.
Lo que pasa es que creo que estaba en mute. ¿Podría repetir la pregunta, por favor?
¿Ya estamos bien? Ok. Lo que quería saber es, yo sé que ahorita están empezando las clases online, como dicen, y yo sé que están pequeñas ahorita, pero ¿qué ponemos como padres, pensar qué grande va a ser la cosa por línea? ¿Va a ser como un día regular de escuela o pensamos que nomás va a llegar como a mediodía? ¿Qué creen que podemos hacer con lo que queda del año con las clases online?
No, ¿a qué se refiere? ¿Que si va a durar todo el resto del año o...?
No, en inglés es how close to a regular school day are we going to get online with online classes?
That's a good question. What I can tell you is that right now we are intentionally telling all of our teachers to keep the workload down to less than 50% of what they normally would give. So we're intentionally telling them, keep it light, because there's a lot to learn and a lot to figure out for them and for the students and for the parents. From a scheduling perspective, we don't want kids to be on computers 6 hours a day. It's just not healthy, right? And so we don't envision that classes online are going to look very much like classes in person, because we don't imagine having a bell schedule where they'll spend an hour in each class or anything like that, because that'll keep them on the computer too much. So instead, what we see is it'll be really set more by the teachers, the schedule, and they'll have things for students to watch at times on their own whenever they feel like it's important to do that. They'll have times where they're actually having in-person, online chat where they'll check in with them, but that shouldn't be a lot. And then they'll give work through Google Classroom and through email. And basically what they're going to generally be doing is giving work on Mondays and all that work is due on Fridays. And just kind of go with that. So you should see much less work than you would normally see kids doing, 50% or less of that, at least at the beginning, while we get the hang of this thing.
Muy bien.
Para traducir. ¿Eso responde a su pregunta, Ramiro?
Ya se acabó, gracias.
Y para traducir rápido, verdad que Ramiro preguntaba que cuánto debería estar ahorita nuestros hijos o hijas al día estudiando, y lo que acaba de responder Tim es que por el momento, verdad, como estamos comenzando con todo esto, los profesores han sido instruidos de mantenerlo un poco bajo, ¿verdad? Los trabajos y tareas, y la razón por qué obviamente es porque todos estamos aprendiendo, pero tampoco quieren que los niños pasen todo el día sentado en la computadora. Y ya veremos después. Well, thank you for sharing that, Tim, because I've been I've been asking my kids to just figure out what else to do.
Yeah, it is so strange. I know right now it's very difficult for the teachers, very difficult for the families, and the students, probably the most difficult for the parents. Right now, we know. So we're doing our best to be easy and try to ease our way into this.
Thank you. Thank you.
There was a
We
question
got
on there about the internet. Do you want me to answer that? Or I kind of put it in the comments, but do you want me to
Please
say a
read.
little something?
Yeah, please read the question and give the information that you got.
Sure. One of the questions and this comes up a lot, is are there resources for students who don't have internet or computer access at home? And the answer is yes. We want every student second grade and above to have a device, a computer, typically a Chromebook, and we will provide that. So we did give out some information earlier in the session about that, and we emailed everybody, all the parents last night, and it's on our website about how you get a Chromebook if your student doesn't have one yet. So we want every student to have a Chromebook. We can provide that for second grade and above. As far as internet is concerned, there is a program called Internet Essentials that everybody who has a student who's on the free and reduced lunch program for our schools has access to. You can get that program through Comcast, or you can get it through AT&T. They both offer the same thing. It's $10 a month for good, solid internet, including wireless, at your home. And right now, they're offering the first 2 months for free. So if you get that, you can get it installed. You don't have to pay anything for 2 months. And that gets you to the end of the school year, right? So you don't have to pay anything. And then if you keep the internet service, then it's only $10 a month. And that's for the internet, the class of internet that usually costs about $40 or $50 per month.
Yeah, and that's great, right? Because of the school libraries being closed as well. Let me translate that. Una de las preguntas que nos llegó temprano es que ¿qué pasa con recursos o qué recursos hay para aquellos estudiantes que no tienen acceso al internet o computadora? Y como Tim había mencionado temprano, es que el distrito ha dado información de que todos los estudiantes de segundo grado para arriba van a tener su computadora, Chromebook. Muchos estudiantes padres ya reciben información, ya han recibido su Chromebook, pero si todavía hay estudiantes que no la han recibido, visiten el website del distrito FSUSD.org para información de cómo conseguir su computadora de su hijo. Eso es a referencia a la computadora, ¿verdad? Porque la mayoría del aprendizaje lo hacen a través de eso. Obviamente también se necesita la conexión del internet. Y algo que están dando ahorita Comcast y AT&T es internet gratis, o las familias que son parte del lunch reducido o gratis, que creo que este año han sido todas las familias, por los primeros 2 meses, Comcast y AT&T van a dar el servicio gratis. Después van a ser $10 por mes, pero 2 meses debería de cubrirles hasta el final del año escolar. Así que por ahí estamos cubiertos si no hay acceso al internet. Y bueno, esa es la información de ahorita. Thank you, Tim. I think it was a new message. And then
taking that.
Hey, Christina is saying, we just put in a comment, she recommends that use the Internet Essential.
Right here, look.
Cheap. The Internet Essential, which is cheap and a good one, and she's been using it for over 3 years. And she only pays $10, so she basically recommends, right, to get the service that you mentioned. Any more questions? ¿Alguna otra pregunta? And remember, you have to unmute yourself. Se tiene que quitar el mudo si quieren hacer alguna pregunta. All right. No more questions. Well, let's see. If team, again, let's just recap if a parent or student have questions after this chat, what they should do again?
They should look at our website, FSUSD.org. Look at the resources right on that main link that's about coronavirus or COVID-19. There's a lot of resources there, both in English and Spanish. And then if they also, if they still have a question, they should email their principal of their school. And that principal will get back to them and connect with them and answer any questions they have specifically about their class or their school if they aren't getting what they need from their teacher.
Ok, si tienen alguna otra pregunta después de que terminemos esta sesión, el team le quiere recordar que visiten el sitio web del distrito fsusd.org para saber cómo contactarse. En la página principal hay una información de cómo visitar la página que está dando noticia al día de lo que está pasando. O si no, también contacten el director de su escuela o de la escuela de su hijo para cualquier pregunta que tenga. Ellos están trabajando. Thank you, team.
You're welcome.
And just one more reminder, right, to everybody that today at 5:30, the school district is going to do a virtual meeting for seniors in high school and parents. Starting at 5:30, it's going to be the English session. And then at 6:30, it will be the Spanish section. And it will be a live stream on YouTube. We put the link on the comment section of the meeting, or you can go to the website to find the link to the district website to find the link to the streaming. Solo un recordatorio, ¿verdad? Que hoy comenzando a las 5:30, el distrito va a tener una reunión virtual para aquellos que están en high school, que ya son seniors, y los padres también, para dar información de qué va a pasar con los que se van a graduar con todo esto que está pasando del virus. La sesión en inglés va a comenzar a las 5:30 del día de hoy, y la sesión en español va a comenzar a las 6:30. Va a ser en vivo en YouTube, y la información de cómo ir al link de YouTube pueden encontrarla en el website del Distrito Escolar. With that said, if there's no more questions, I want to thank you, team, and the district, right, for coming on board. And if we have the need of the community to continue having this conversation, especially with everything changing, we'll put more of this. Any last words, Tim?
Nope. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all, and thank you, Leo, for your leadership in the community and connecting us with people so that I can get the message out that we need to get out during this time. And we appreciate all that you all are doing to hold up our community at this time and to take care of the children. It's a very challenging time. We recognize that. But we're doing a lot of wonderful things, I think, together in the community. And we look forward to getting better at distance learning over the next month or so.
That's right. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Adios.